our paper into the half. Most of the cottage is on the bottom part and less on top. So we have a little bit like half sky, half for the cottage. A little bit more, the cottage can move up, but not much. And then if I divide it into like the vertical line, it's something like this space. So for have an idea, a little bit, this cottage should move toward the left side. So I just add a point here that I would like to start here. And then imagine my actually rectangle shape, sorry, triangle shape, place this space. I just mentioned about the space that I would like to have on the bottom of my page. And then try to connect them with ruler, because this is really straight line here. And then for the other side as well. And now my line is not just limited with this two line of the roof of cottage. It's the snow on top. So I try to follow some shape as a snow and feel comfortable for that, because the snow shouldn't be really straight. It's like that. Then you can move, bring it down. Like here. And then inside the cottage is a little bit beautiful details it has inside. We can follow something, have a space here, a little bit design like this shape. I just bring inside and then bring it out. Not to force myself about the exact follow the shape like that. Try my best to be, but not bother myself. And then the other side. Sometimes it's easier to start with pencil and make sure about each line that we would like to have. And then make it dark by micron pen. It depends if you like to do drawing, just start with micron pen, it's okay. Now I have this part of the cottage, which is here. And I have something around. I'm not focused on the details inside. I just see about this fence around and the snow that it's come on top, because the cottage, a little bit of space here I need to have and a little bit here. So I would like to mention about the snow that I see. Something should be placed, something like that. Just imagine. And then I'm going to add place of fence on both sides. It gives me an idea where should be placed the trees and the other things. And if I see the fence is like this angle, it's not straight, it's an angle, it's in an angle. And in front of me, which is the right side, it's a bigger, but on the left side, it's so smaller because it shows that it's on distance. So try my best to follow the same shape with this angle. I try to put my ruler here to mention about the angle that I need to have. Just with the tip of pen, mention about the place that I'm interested to be here. A little bit on top, I can add the point that this is the top part. Then with the ruler, I can connect these two lines together. Fence should be straight as well. If you can draw your line hands-free very straight, so you can do. If not, ruler is good option. The fence on distance a little bit shorter, but in front, longer. And then there is some snow it shows on top. I draw the snow as well. And then the other part of the fence, I focus on the left part, this is small part, and then move on toward the right. So again, this is an angle. I try to follow the same line. So the end of the other fence should be placed here, and the top of that should be here. But two other lines pass from it, if you see here. One line, two line pass from that, and then the snow on top. So I try to, first of all, draw this line, 1 and 2. Make it simple for yourself. Draw 1 and 2 line that it's passed from the other fence and this one. On top is the snow, I know that, but for now that's enough like that. The other fence is here, in between these two lines. Then we can add the snow on top, like that. And now we can focus on this bigger part of the fence, which is so visible, it's in front of us. We draw this part of at the beginning, and it's past one tree trunk on in between of these two. So I imagine this is the tree trunk. So I draw. Tree trunk shouldn't be straight, so easily you can draw it toward the top of the paper. It's better not to be straight, a little bit work with your line. A little bit thicker on the bottom part and more narrow on top. So this is good for tree trunk. Now I have tree trunk, I have these two parts of the fence, just the line that it's passed from it I need. And it should be in an angle, not straight. So again, back to my angle and draw 3 lines parallel with each other. One here, and then the other here. You can control the space in between. And then one at the end that it's reached to the snow is here. Then we need a little bit thickness for the line and the snow on top. So for the thickness, again, we can draw the line, or because of the snow, if you see the snow on top of the any surface, it's not really straight and clean. Sometimes it's moved inside, sometimes a little bit up. So for the other line, it doesn't need to use the ruler. We can use our hand. Even if it go inside and a little bit bump it, fine, it's okay. Because it's covered by snow. And then another part, add on top for the snow. Window and door. So I try to draw with the ruler some line that shows these are the window and doors. Then connect it for doors is better. For door is better to connect it on the bottom of cottage, which is the snow. This is that line. And then we have a details like white around, inside is blacky, and this shape that we have here. We can cancel some of them and make it easier, or we can add these details on top. Both are fine. For this one, I'm going to add a little more water because I would like to have lighter value. And then randomly, I'm going to add some brush stroke. It's so light. Some brush stroke on the roof and keep this part white. And the design should be white as well. So just under the snow, I try to make it a little bit darker with the blue to show that, because we see on real snow, we can see some part it's a little darker, which is bluey, not completely white. So I try to follow that. And again, on this part of the roof, I'm going to add a little bit bluey feeling on the edges. It's so light, and I have a napkin in my hand. Even if I feel the darkness, clean it by water. Try to disappear the edges. So the other part that we can add a little bit bluey feeling on top is the sky part. The sky is more white because of the snow, but a little bit watery blue I would like to add somewhere. And it's a bigger space if you compare it with the cottage. So I'm going to use whole this hair. I laid down, diluted my brush into the watery blue, and I lay down on a paper. So I'm going to add some stroke like that. Just very less water and more pigment help the paint get darker. And I'm going to add some stroke with whole the brush, not the tip, for the trees that I see, actually the branches in front. We can use lay down the brush for shaping the actually branches, or use the tip. For some part, we can use the tip, like draw the line. For some part, lay down, hold the brush and draw the shape like that. We need some space in between. Even I'm not focused on drawing. If you see, I'm not place each this darkness into the drawing that I have. I just make the drawing and make this in between to make it busy and make it interesting. Then randomly add this dark color here. Then after these branches, in between we need some brownie color for tree trunks. So I'm using burnt umber, which is darker, like that. Add enough water into that, not much and not less, something like this. Hold the brush and lay down whole hair of the brush to draw some darker tone on trees. Not everywhere, even I'm not using just one line with the brown. Like a broken line in between, adding some brownie here, and then even some part is I left just with the white of the paper, which is interesting. Again, the other one like that, add some brush stroke, not really visible, even lighter for the stems and darker for tree trunk in front. For lighter on distance, we can add a little drop of water, control it by napkin, help the paint get lighter. Just a filling of brown would be enough for trees on distance. And as I mentioned, please not draw just one single line with a dark color. Make it broken line. Now we finish with the jungle and trees on the stands and in front. That's cover our cottage. And with the light and darkness, we make a depth for our painting. So the one that it's on distance and lighter, the one which is front is darker, and that's help for making depth. And now we would like to work on our cottage. It's already reddish brown, but if you don't have it, the regular brown with red can give you something close to this color. Even for this one, I am going to add a little red as well, because I think the cottage is more red than brown. So I'm going to add a little red. This is a good color. But for cottage, because it's a smaller part and there is some details around this part of the cottage, which is the windows and these details, I'm going to add the paint a little bit with a smaller brush. So very nice. Try to cover all this part with the smaller brush and make sure not to touch the part that it's not brownie, like the design or the windows. So try to add a tone around, enough water into the brush, not less, not more. It shouldn't be dry brush and it shouldn't be really watery. Just like that, that's move easily. That's enough brush, that's enough water in the brush that help your brush stroke move easily. Then with the tip of smaller brush, try to cover whole the part. I'm not going to add just one tone because I know that there is some details on top of the wood style of cottage, so I bring it down so far here. And then with the darker brown, darker brown, I need less water, more darker brown. I'm going to add one side, which is this left side, a little darker, because one side is in shadow and it's darker. So I'm going to add one line as a dark color here. And even with the tip of brush, at the same time, don't let it draw completely. I draw some line randomly like that. Because of wood, it makes the shape of wood. I prefer not to draw it completely. Some part it's drawn, not all the part. So a little bit design, it's nice to have. Like that. Again, wash the brush. Back to reddish brown. Continue the rest. Small brush is helpful to not touch the details like windows, frame or something. So I'm going to add a little dark. I finished one side because watercolor is same as acrylic and draw easily. But I don't want to make it again wet. So I'm going to add the other part right away when it's wet. Shadow on the left side and add some details like a line with tip of brush. our cottage, which is the windows and door. And it's more bluey, light and dark, but here on top it's yellowy window. It shows that the light is on, and I'm going to add yellow. Doesn't matter which yellow, any warm yellow you have would be fine. And I just add a little bit red, yellowy color on inside that, not around the frame. Frame should be completely white. Just add a yellow color inside this window, and I don't let it draw. I have already this reddish color. Just a little bit touch of reddish color is interesting, not just one color used in the window. Like that. So it's already wet, and just add a little bit another color on top. For the other window, which is this too is bluey, the same, I'm going to use light blue, like what's this, cerulean blue? This is a light blue. Start to cover it with this, and beside and before let it dry completely, I'm going to add a little darker blue, which is cobalt. Some touch, interesting to have interesting brush stroke. Now I would like to paint the balcony with dark brown or even reddish brown. That doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to add the dark brown. And I keep the space as a white of the snow. So just with the tip of brush, make the brownie color and somewhere that it needs. And make sure not to lose the snow on top. Then a little bit reddish brown for cottage I'm going to add. It's so small and tiny, so tip of brush can help me. Can be so helpful. The rest is not easy to do. Or even you don't need to bother yourself. Just add some stroke and leave some part white to show that this is the balcony and the snow on top. That's enough. And that is, I think we need a little bit touch of darker blue for this part, which is snowy. So I'm going to add again cerulean blue, but this time I'm going to use very less water. Just a little touch of darker blue. Interesting to make the snow be even more visible. Even on the roof as well here. A little bit darker, not much. But if you have already darker color for blue, would be okay. Don't need to add anything. Just like that. Randomly add some stroke with darker blue. And then leave it get dry. I can call our painting is finished. There's not much more left to do.